Hi guys, welcome to Small Farmer Life. Hope you're all having an awesome day. And today guys, I'm going to give you the average price you should be paying for a 2-acre plot of bare agricultural land, and also a 2-acre plot with utilities and a small barn on there, so you can gauge what price you should be offering somebody who's willing to sell you some land. Now before we get into the video guys, if you like the video, at the end of the video, hit the like button. If you want to subscribe, and you should subscribe, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified of more upcoming videos, hit the bell button. Go back, check out some of the videos I've already uploaded to the channel. You'll find some useful information in those videos. Anyway, let's get into the video, guys. Now, before I get into what you should be paying for agricultural land, I want to talk about some of the things that will increase or decrease the value of agricultural land, because there's lots of things that can add value to agricultural land and can also decrease the value of agricultural land. And these things are going to set you in good stead if you know what they are when it comes to haggling on the price of agricultural land or coming to some sort of deal for a piece of agricultural land that you might have found, and you found the owner and the owner is willing to sell and work out a deal that suits both you guys. First things first guys, location, location, location. Now if the land that you're looking to buy is right next to a development site like mine, then the person who's selling the other land is probably going to be thinking that that land will be developed sometime in the future. Or they'll put covenants and clawbacks on the land, and you don't want that because you eventually want to live on that land. So sometimes that will decrease the value of land, but sometimes owners will still want the average price per acre, even though they're putting a covenant on the land in case it gets developed in the future. So let's say it becomes worth 2 million quid because it's got development on the land and they've put a 50% clawback on that land. You have to cough up £1 million. So that's not good. Anyway guys, stay away from land with covenants and clawbacks on that land and any restrictions that will restrict you from doing what you want to do. So you want to be looking for land that's about 1 mile away from the development boundaries of your town. That's not too far to travel, and it's not too far to travel when you're taking your kids to school and that sort of thing. What designation is the land itself? Is it green belt? Is it in an area of outstanding natural beauty? Is it an historical site? Stay away from those sorts of land designations because it's going to be hard to get any sort of development on those sites. Greenbelt sites, you can still eventually get the right to live on those sites, but it's going to be a hell of a fight to get onto those sites, especially to get residential permission on those sites. You might get temporary permission to live on there, and you might be Ben's Law where you can live on there, but as soon as you pass away, the building has to be destroyed and then you can't sell it, or no family members can move into that building. And that's not what you want. You want to be able to pass on what you've built on that land onto family members and children and that sort of thing, because all your hard work doesn't want to be going to waste, if you get what I'm saying. So stay away from areas of outstanding natural beauty, stay away from historical sites, because people do sell land and it's right next to historical sites and you can't do anything with that land except graze horses and that sort of thing, or graze sheep. So stay away from designated sites like those guys, honestly. 1 and 2 acre plots will sell for a lot more price per acre than a 100 acre plot. It's just the way it is. A 100 acre plot you might see for £8,000 per acre average, but a 1 and 2 acre plot, it could be anywhere from £10,000 to £15,000 per acre average. And the reason that is because the price per acre, which they say is around about £10,000 in the UK now for arable land, because they put all the land sales that's took place over 2022 together, and then they average out the price of all that farmland. And if it turns out to be £9,000 an average price, that's what they'll say it is. So people mistakenly think that a 1 acre site is only worth £9,000. A guy came up to me in a social club and said the average price is only £4,500 per acre. He must have been looking at buying some land and seeing that the average price back then was £4,500, and I would be only asking £4,500 for an acre of my land. Just absolute crazy, guys. So what you read online when it says £9,000 average per acre, that's all the land sales stuck together, thousands and thousands of acres and some of it'll have went for £50,000 for 2 acres or 3 acres, and some of it'll have went 1,000 acre for say £6,000 an acre, so £600,000, and they put them all in one pot and they average out that way. So don't think that because you read online it's £9,000 an acre average that's what you're going to be paying for land per acre. It's just not like that. And smaller plots, 1 and 2 acre plots, always go for more than larger plots, because a lot more people have the money to buy smaller plots than they do larger plots. So just keep that in mind when you're out looking for land. Other things, guys, that can affect the price of land is, does it drain well? In wet weather, does it drain really well? Now, some of my land is flat and the rest of it is sloping down towards the railway. So in wet weather, it drains really, really well. But if you're buying a flat piece of land, it might not drain well at all. So you might have a lot of rain and then find that the field is a quagmire. So you really need to understand how your land, or the land that you're looking to buy, is it going to be boggy when it rains, or does it drain really well? Has it had land drains put in it in the past, and does it have a water course that it can drain off to, and the land will drain pretty quickly and it'll be pretty decent to walk on and not really muddy underfoot, because that can be a pain in the backside, especially if you're grazing animals on the land. It just gets torn up and it looks an absolute mess, especially if you put horses on the land, because horses can cause a lot of damage to agricultural land or just pasture land in general. So make sure that the land that you're looking at buying has got good drainage, and if it hasn't, then you can negotiate that in the price of having that done. Now, some farmers, if you're trying to negotiate on everything, well, they might get a little bit disheartened of selling you some land. So pick and choose what you want to haggle with them about, and what means more to you, and how much it's going to cost you. If you're going to do it yourself, then it's going to be a lot cheaper than getting people in to do it. But if you can't do it yourself, you're going to have to pay people to come in, put in field drains, and then make sure that the fields drain properly in bad weather. Otherwise, like I said, you'll just end up with a quagmire of a field after your animals are walking around the field, grazing, and horses and that sort of thing. So try and buy land that's on a slight slope, and maybe there's a brook or something nearby where you can field drain the water from the field into the brook, because most things can be put right if you're willing to put the time and effort into doing so. Now, this might not seem like it's much to many people, and many people will not be bothered about having one of these on their land, but having a pond on some land can make a massive difference in the price of that land. So if you find land and it's got a pond on that land, you can expect to pay more for that land if it's a couple of acres. If it's got a half an acre pond on that land, or a quarter of an acre pond, people like ponds on the land. So expect to pay a little bit more if the land that you're looking at has a pond on it. Trust me, guys, ponds are beautiful things to have on your land, and if it's done right and they look beautiful, then people will pay that little bit extra, or the seller will charge that little bit more for that piece of land. Other things you can haggle about, guys, is access. Does it have good access, or is it shared access? How good is the access? Is it well maintained, or is it like ours, which is like a road out of Basra and it's got more craters in it than the moon? Or does it have private access? Because these things will affect the price of the land that you're looking to buy. Now, if you're sharing access with a farmer that's selling you the land, and the farmer keeps the access in good condition, and you just have to give a couple of quid every year to maintain that track, then that's a good thing. But you might have direct access from a B road into a field, and that will increase the value of the land when the farmer comes to sell you that land. So access is key. Also, guys, when it comes to buying land and looking at what you're going to pay for land, another thing that's key is the land full of rubbish, and it's going to take you a month or two to get rid of all that rubbish, and it's going to cost you a lot of money to get that rubbish moved off the land. Now, some of it probably can be burnt, but some of it won't be able to be burnt, and you'll have to pay to get that rubbish moved off site. Now, you could ask for a little discount from the seller to say, can you knock this much off, because it's going to cost me so much to clear the land so I can start doing what I want to do with the land. And also, guys, has there been any contamination of that land? Because land that's had lots of rubbish dumped on it over the years could end up being contaminated, and that's not what you want if you're going to be starting a small holding, or you're going to be growing veg and that sort of thing, and you want to set up as an organic farm or something like that. So guys, if there's lots of rubbish on the land, make sure you factor that in to the price that you're going to offer the seller. Other things, guys, that can affect how much land goes for, and you might think this is stupid, this is not going to affect the price of land, but good fencing and hedgerows that are kept in good condition. Because when I bought my land, the hedgerows were grown into the land about 1.5 meters, and it was a hell of a job to get the hedgerow back to where the fence was. And the fence was falling to bits. Now, the fence was owned by the railway, and they've put up a new one now. But if you turn up to buy a 2-acre field and it's already paddocked off, and the fences are in a good state of repair and it's got good gates and all that, well, that's an extra few £1,000s you might have to offer the seller to buy that land. So fences can make a little bit of a difference in the price you pay for a piece of land. Utilities, guys. Does the land have utilities? This can affect the land price drastically, because if a piece of land, a 2-acre plot, has water and electricity versus a 2-acre plot that doesn't have water and electricity, the price difference can be huge. So if somebody spent, let's say, £12,000 on getting electricity to the site, and then another 1,400 quid or £2,000 getting water to the site, they can double the water and electricity costs to get to that site and put that on the price of the land that they're selling. So if the land that they're selling is 30 grand without water and electricity, now they've spent 16 grand on getting water and electricity to the site, then they can add 32 grand to the £30,000 that you would pay for a bare piece of agricultural land, 2 acres in size. So that'll be £62,000. And that might seem a lot, but if you buy bare agricultural land and you get the electricity put on the land and you get the water put on the land, well, you can double whatever you pay for the electricity and water and add that to the value of your land. So you're increasing the value of your bare piece of agricultural land. It's as simple as that, guys. Utilities mean a lot. Now, another thing, guys, amenities. How close are amenities to the land that you're looking to buy? Because if you have to drive 10 miles to get the local supermarket, then it's going to be a lot cheaper to buy that land because you're way out. If you're right next to a town or a mile or two away from a town, it's going to be a little bit more expensive to buy that land than, let's say, land that's way out is a lot cheaper than land that is right next to towns. So guys, think about that, especially if you've got kids. How far is a school run going to be? And if you can't pick your kids up from school one day, how are they going to get back to the home? Now, guys, I talk about amenities and schools and supermarkets being close by, because if you're starting a small farm on any agricultural land, eventually you will get the chance to live on that land. But guys, if you're just trying to build a residential site on agricultural land, I've said it before, councils are not in the business of granting planning permission on agricultural land. But they have to grant planning permission for a rural worker's dwelling if you start a small rural enterprise and you can turn over the average wage of one rural worker, which is around about £18,000. So you can get planning permission to build on the site that you've bought a 2-acre plot, but somebody who just buys a 2-acre plot and tries to build a house on there, or tries to get planning permission to build a house on there, has got no chance whatsoever. So that's why I say go back, watch some of my videos that I've already uploaded to the channel. There's lots of information in those videos that'll help you get the right to live on your land and get residential permission for you and your family. Don't bother, guys, knocking on country houses, large houses with lots of land around them, because those people are NIMBYs. They're like second homeowners. They've done well, multimillionaires. They move into those houses and they don't want anybody else, especially people like us, moving in the local area. They're called NIMBYs, not in my backyard. So stay away from those guys. But as farmers, guys, honestly, you'll be surprised how much farmers will help you and how willing farmers are to talk to you. And if you find the right farmer, honestly guys, you can ask 100 farmers, you'll need one person to say, yes, I've got a piece of land for sale. And if that piece of land is the right piece of land, then you can go forward with buying that land. And like I say, I found several people willing to sell me land in the first month of looking. So I know it's possible, and I know it might be a little bit daunting going and talking to people that you don't know. But at the end of the day, guys, if you want to start a small holding, or you want to live some sort of rural life and start a rural enterprise, or maybe live in a woodland or something like that, an off-grid lifestyle, you need to get out there and you need to ask the right people. And the landowners, the biggest landowners in the UK, are all small farmers and large farmers. And some of those farms, I guarantee, if not all of those farms, have small parcels of land that it's not feasible to farm. So get out there and ask the right people and get your feet on the street and get knocking on doors. And don't be scared, guys. All I can say is no, they're not going to chase you with a shotgun or anything like that. So don't be worrying like that, guys. Just be polite. Don't turn up in suits and ties and that sort of thing. Turn up with your missus, maybe a kid, and just say you just want to start a small family farm and you want to grow your own veg and you want to start a box scheme, that sort of thing. And trust me, farmers are really amicable people and they'll get on with you, and before you know it, you'll be friends with a farmer. So let's get down to what you should be paying for a 2-acre plot of, let's say, flat arable land that is off the beaten track a little bit. It's got shared private access, farmers willing to sell you it. It's got no utilities, but there's a farmhouse close by, so utilities are probably going to be close by, so it's not going to cost you that much to get utilities to site. It's got nothing else going for it except an access point, and the utilities are close by. And what you should be paying for that land is around about 15 grand per acre. So a 2-acre plot could cost you around about 30 grand. Smaller plots always sell for a lot more or double the price than the average acre from large plots. So a 1,000-acre plot, if it's £6,000 an acre, you'll probably pay around about £12,000 to £15,000 per acre if you're only buying a 2-acre plot. It's just the way it is, guys. Like I say, a lot more people are looking for 2-acre plots than a 100-acre plot or a 1,000-acre plot. But let's say you found a 2-acre plot, it's got a barn on there, it's got utilities on there, you're probably looking at around about £100,000 for a 2-acre plot with a barn, with electricity, with water, because people will pay that amount, especially people with horses. They can already stable the horses in the barn. It's got electricity and water on site, so they don't have to bring that in, and people will pay that amount, especially people who've got money. And people with horses normally have money, so that's the type of people you're going to be up against when you're buying land with a barn on it, or with stables on there, or with water and electricity already on site, especially if it's got its own private access also. It'll definitely be around about 100 grand. But if you buy a 2-acre plot, that's bare agricultural land, for let's say 30 grand, you can build a barn for another 15, 20 grand, bring water and electricity on for another 15 grand, and you're saving a lot of money by doing it yourself. So look for bare agricultural land with utilities close by, and guys, you'll save a lot of money. Trust me on that. Now, one more thing, guys. If you find a piece of land, a couple of acre plot, that somebody's willing to sell you, don't tell anybody else about it, because they'll tell somebody else, and you never know, somebody might sneak in there and try and offer more for that land. Now, farmers are normally genuine people, and if they make a deal with you, then the deal's a deal. And that's what you want to be doing, guys. Farmers will sell you land without telling other people that they're selling you that land. The private people, as it is, they're not like they're going out all the time. They're working on the farm quite a lot. And if they can make £30,000 offloading a small piece of land that they don't use because it's not feasible to farm, then you're in luck. And not only that, but you're making friends with the farmer, so the farmer's more likely to help you, and that farmer will introduce you to other farmers or point you in the right direction of other farmers who can help you out. So honestly, guys, buying from farmers is the best way to go about it. Anyway, guys, if you like the video, hit the like button. If you want to subscribe, and you should subscribe, hit the subscribe button. If you want to be notified of more upcoming videos, hit the bell button. Thanks to all my patrons, couldn't thank you guys enough. And if you fancy joining the Patreon scheme, the link's in the description below. If you've got any questions, private questions you want to ask me, you can ask me through Patreon. And if you want to join YouTube membership, really appreciate it. And I really appreciate all my patrons. Couldn't thank you guys enough. And YouTube members, really appreciate the support. Till next time, guys, make sure you take care of yourself. Most of all, take care of the family. Be genuine, guys. Bye for now. See you.